Dr. Stephen Matthews was once held in high esteem, a skilled cardiologist, trusted by patients to literally hold their hearts in his hands. Calm, charismatic, and supremely confident, he wore the white coat of a healer. But behind the curtain of professionalism, he led a chilling double life. What looked like dedication to saving lives was, in truth, a facade masking something far more sinister. Matthews didn't just break his medical oath, he shattered the lives of those who trusted him most. And when justice finally came knocking, he didn't face it with dignity. Instead, he broke down in tears, overwhelmed by the weight of his own actions. So how did this celebrated physician become a man sentenced to 158 years behind bars? Why did it take so long for justice to close in? This is the disturbing saga of Dr. Stephen Matthews, a name once associated with hope and healing in Colorado, now forever tied to predation and betrayal. Found guilty on 35 separate charges, Matthews' story is a stark reminder that monsters don't always lurk in the shadows. Sometimes they wear stethoscopes. Matthews built a glowing reputation in medicine, earning his patients' trust with a soothing voice and a steady hand. But according to investigators, that trust became his weapon. Behind closed doors, he used sedatives and his deep medical knowledge not to heal but to control. Some of his victims were patients, some were acquaintances, some barely conscious, yet all of them shared the same shocking realization. The man they believed was there to help had instead orchestrated a nightmare over several years. The accusations piled up stories of women waking up in unfamiliar surroundings, dazed, confused, and haunted by the sense that something was terribly wrong. Some had visited him for help, others were lured under false pretenses. What they experienced was not medical care, but calculated violation. And the unthinkable part, it took far too long for those in power to listen, to act, to believe. Dr. Stephen Matthews is now behind bars, but his case leaves behind a trail of pain and a chilling question: how many more like him hide behind the very roles meant to protect us?
He seemed like the perfect match, a successful cardiologist on a dating app. But women who went out with him say he was a monster who spiked their drinks and then brutally sexually assaulted them.
I got in the hot tub, and the very last thing I remember is just looking at the water and then just lights out.
Audrey, she asked that only her first name be used, says it happened on her first date with Dr. Matthews. Her mother found her at home.
She was in the shower, half clothed, and just making no sense.
After Audrey came forward to tell her story, 10 more women found the courage to accuse Dr. Matthews. Prosecutors say there are likely dozens more victims staying in the shadows. Each had the same story, waking up groggy after a first date with no recollection of what had happened.
What made this case even more unsettling wasn't just the crimes, it was how meticulously planned they were. Investigators uncovered a chilling web of evidence: text messages that hinted at intent, hidden camera footage that revealed the truth, and a disturbing pattern of psychological manipulation. Dr. Stephen Matthews didn't rely solely on drugs. He wielded charm like a weapon, wrapping his victims in a false sense of security. He made them feel seen, heard, even cared fondly to shatter that trust in the most intimate and violating way. When the case finally reached the courtroom, the atmosphere was thick with emotion and disbelief. Survivors took the stand, many of them shaking as they revisited their trauma, some breaking down mid-testimony. Their words painted a picture not just of individual pain, but of a calculated predator who used his intelligence and position to exploit vulnerability. Each testimony was a piece of a puzzle, fitting together to reveal a man who spent years building a perfect lie, only to have it collapse under the weight of truth.
I am scarred by what happened to me that afternoon. I have been in therapy for the last 18 months. Stephen Matthews took away what normal looks like for me. I developed debilitating anxiety and PTSD when having sexual encounters, where men touching me made me tremble and cry. I don't think there are words to describe what it felt like to know that I was losing control of my ability to function and protect myself, and that there was nothing I could do to stop it from happening.
The prosecution laid bare a harrowing narrative. This wasn't a case of isolated mistakes, but a clear, deliberate pattern. Dr. Stephen Matthews had used his authority, his medical expertise, and his carefully crafted persona to harm again and again with chilling intent. Yet, despite the mountain of evidence, Matthews denied it all. His defense team tried to spin the accusations as exaggerated, even invented, but the truth was too detailed, too too consistent across victims and timelines to ignore. When the verdict finally came, the courtroom held its breath. We, the jury, find the defendant, Stephen Matthews, guilty of sexual assault, incapable of appraising the nature of conduct. As the words rang out, the once confident doctor crumbled. He collapsed forward onto the defense table, sobbing uncontrollably, not with the grace of remorse, but with the raw shock of a man whose carefully hidden world had unraveled in public. But that moment wasn't the end. It was only the start of true accountability. On sentencing day, Matthews returned to court fully aware that prison awaited him. What he didn't anticipate was the magnitude of justice: a staggering 158-year sentence, a lifetime behind bars for a lifetime of deception.
Today, there is a room full of pain, and this is pain that you have caused your victims. Mr. Matthews, you have diminished this world. You have dimmed many of its lights. You've hurt our society, and it's a darker place because of you. It would be improper if you did not serve a sentence for each victim individually. The total number of years are 158 years in prison. This matter is concluded.
The weight of it all finally broke him, as his mother's tearful words made the crushing reality impossible to escape.
I hope that I will one day be able to hug you and see you on the other side of these walls.
But the courtroom remained unmoved by his tears. There was no sympathy left to give. As one victim put it, "He had no mercy for us. Why should we feel sorry for him now?" Another added coldly, "He deserves every year he got."
I don't think if he was ever allowed back out that this would be something that would stop. So a life sentence, and that's hard. I obviously never wish that on anyone, but he's made his choices and there are consequences for that.
He will repeat this. He will do it again. It is who he is to his core. He should never be allowed to do it again.
Did you look over at him and see his reaction at all?
Yes.
What did you think?
I don't care. You did this to all of us. You took away our memory. You took away the ability to live our life carefree. I was 22 when this happened to me. I'm 24. Spent almost 2 years dealing with the trauma and stress and anxiety. So I don't care.
It's been really heavy on us too, so I can't even imagine all the victims in this as well.
Alexa and Lauren sat on the jury for the whole month and served as alternates.
It was a good wake-up call, but it was really hard to see the victims and the pain that they were enduring, and the amount of victim blaming that was happening is a really good representation of how the world is right now.
One survivor delivered a gut-wrenching statement. "I trusted him with my health. I didn't know I was handing him control over my life." Can you imagine the betrayal? Her words echoed a deeper truth. What if it were your loved one? How would you feel knowing their doctor used trust as a weapon? The Matthews case has become more than a courtroom drama. It's a haunting lesson about power, deception, and the masks predators wear. Not all monsters hide in the dark somewhere. White coats and smile in plain sight.
I know that everybody's a little bit concerned right now with what's going on, and I think that there are some things that we can do to kind of ease ourselves. One of them being making sure that every single time we kind of touch a doorknob or touch a handle, we make sure to wash our hands afterwards. That's really important. Anytime that we're thinking about eating, we should make sure that we wash our hands before we eat as well as after we eat. Other things as far as, making sure that you're not going into a group of people is going to be really important as well. It's okay to still be around your family though, because I think at this point in time, family is really important, and you just have to take measures as far as if somebody's not feeling well, to then ask them to make sure that they try to get the care they need.
Dr. Stephen Matthews believed he was untouchable, too intelligent to be exposed, too trusted to be doubted, too respected to fall. But the truth has a way of surfacing, and when it did, the courtroom didn't flinch. It stripped away the mask and delivered justice with finality. If you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit that subscribe button. And if you've made it this far, leave a comment below and check out the next video on your screen to support the channel. Thanks for watching.